I remember there was a little joke that came from this because I was like, well, you got dunked in acid. You gotta, like, your clothes have to get a little bit
Yeah,
damaged.
yeah.
Right?
Tyler is
Yeah.
a real pervert about it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, it was literally just like, but I remember very clearly it was Elika's player who went, there's gotta be a secret entrance, or like something like that. And I went, fuck, there's gotta be a secret entrance.
He's
uh,
right.
and there was a moment where Fierce's player understood what had to happen next. But like the
Yeah.
rest of you had no idea. Do you remember this?
I remember exactly what he did, and it was awesome.
Hello, hello, and welcome to A Slight Chance of Adventure, a Pathfinder First Edition campaign diary podcast. My name is Tyler. I was the DM of this campaign. And with me, I have two of my players Gavin
Hello, I am Gavin. I played the human oracle, Shamla.
and Tom.
Hello, I played Orcus, the Hobgoblin's Slayer.
If Gavin sounds weird, he's sick, or at least recovering from being sick. Um, anyway, the other two players were Fierce, a catfolk blood rager, and Elika, a half elf druid. Last time, the players traveled to the island of Halau to sell a painting, and they sold those paintings. And then they traveled to the island of Tuval to meet with some of the Ivory Fang, who are a group of pirates. And then they decided to go talk to a wizard for various reasons. And we'll pick up right as they get there. So yeah, we pick up with you guys in a cave looking to meet with a wizard. Do you two remember one why you were going to see this wizard, or and two kind of what happened? Gavin.
Um, I remember that we wanted to go see the wizard to ask him about a potential exchange information about a entrance into the
Stone Chain.
slaver's base. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Stone Chain's base.
there's a raid being planned on the Stone Chain Pirates, and they've got a secret hideout. And you guys are like, well, there's got to be like a secret entrance somewhere up in those hills around it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we'll go talk to the smart wizard. He'll know. And
I
one thing I'll
forgot.
note. Good.
I forgot why we thought he did, other than just smart wizard in the hills, or why there would be an entrance there.
He lived in the hills, and we assumed it was in the hills.
You know, it was on the other side. You knew he was far away from where it was, so it wasn't like he was near it. It was more just like, oh, there's a mysterious wizard. I bet he knows things. Um, and
I do remember he wasn't a fan of us when we
no,
showed up.
no, yeah, we'll get into that. What, what happened? What happened?
He, we had a brief discussion with him,
Yeah,
and after hearing our sincere and kind words, he dropped me into a pit.
not just you. He dropped you, Elika, and Leon in the pit. Um, yeah, you, Elika, and Leon. That's who Leon is. Elika's cat.
Yep.
That's right. I'll recap my notes now. Talks to the wizard. He tells him to go away. Then drops him into a vat of acid. Uh, they get out and run away. So you guys get out of the acid pit. Orcus gets gored by a bison because he summoned a bison, and it
When the
gored Orcus.
how does
um,
that happen? What?
I do not remember the bison.
he summoned it. Yeah, yeah. Like he had a summon spell. And then everybody leaves and goes back to the ship. Now that
Yeah.
as time goes on, I take better notes, but I remember I didn't take the greatest, most precise notes back in then, but I do remember there were other
Mm-hmm.
things that happened. Um,
Yeah.
I
one,
remember it being an acid pit.
yes. Um,
I just remember there being a pit.
I remember there was a little joke that came from this because I was like, "Well, you got dunked in acid. You gotta like your clothes have to get a little bit
Yeah,
damaged,
yeah.
right?"
Tyler is
Yeah.
a real pervert about it.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, I was. It was literally just like I cannot imagine your clothes not getting somewhat damaged. I just couldn't. It was not. But of course, like I decided to myself beforehand that that they were gonna get damaged, and then the two female characters got dunked in, of course.
Yep.
Um, um,
Conveniently.
Convenient. Yes. And then also I remember Elika's player. As you guys were running away, the wizard had like opened up a little eye slot, and that was the only way you talked to him. And Elika wanted to turn into a bird and fly back in to get inside where the wizard was. And I was like, they will die. One, wild shape that they had to that point wasn't possible to get a bird that small. Two, they would have died if they got in there. So I was very much like,
Yeah, no, that was
no,
suicide to do
please.
that.
I gave him a big, are you sure about that? Yeah. Um,
Well, he couldn't do the transformation anyway, so it's fine.
yeah. At the time, I thought they could though, so I was like, please don't, please, you'll die.
Yeah.
I strongly implied they would die because I thought they could. But I want to talk more about because this like incident wasn't that big of a deal. Whatever you guys encountered and ran away, like in the scheme of the campaign, it doesn't really matter. But like I feel like it's indicative the moment of a lot of the thing I struggled with the most early on as a DM. And with like the main problem I had in this campaign, which was like just imagining, like in kind of in planning, imagining how the players would go from A to B to C to D, like that actual process.
Ah,
What do I need to present to them to actually get them along the path I imagine? Because
the journey.
yeah, like just being able to conceptualize that, the experience of having done it, knowing what you need to prepare and like have prepared to show them, and just how to take them along the path you imagine. Because other people like talk about like, oh, railroading versus open world. I think most players do want to just follow the path that was laid out, not necessarily like the rails, but the path. Um, there's a reason things like adventure paths exist, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I just didn't have the experience or knowledge or understanding to just imagine how, and so it would lead to issues like this one, because how this happened was you guys got to town last session, and we're like, oh, what do we do? And I mentioned a couple things, and then the island of the idea of the secret tunnel, secret entrance came up. I would note there was no secret entrance in my mind originally. That was just like you guys like, well, there's gotta be one, and I went, it makes sense, and so there was a secret entrance, right? um, but you guys came up with that, and then the only other thing you'd heard at that point to do was like, oh, there's a wizard, and so and so you guys were like, well, clearly we go see the wizard, right? That's what Tyler wants.
I've connected the dots.
Yeah, like because there wasn't anything else pointing you to do. I wanted you guys to like go to Rantai and get involved in shit. Um, that's what I was imagining, but I had no idea how to like A to B to C to D to get you to there. You arrived at this town, and I didn't have any way to get you out of that town. So you just went with the first thing I dropped in front of you, which was the wizard. Even though
Mm-hmm.
it was a terrible idea, and I remember I didn't I like looking back, I can blame myself a lot for it. But like at the time, I remember I was so mad at you guys because it was like I dropped a demon right in front of them. Why did they go see the wizard? What the fuck? you know? Um,
Maybe the wizard knows about the demon.
when the demon was guarding the wizard. It was very clearly working with the wizard.
Yeah.
And but from your guys' perspective, it's like okay, but this is the only thing Tyler's put in front of us, so this is where we should go, right? Right? Um, so I'm like, what are you guys thinking? And you're guys are like, well, clearly this is only he must want this from us, you know. Um, and so yeah, that was I feel like that moment happening kind of indicates where my struggles were at this stage of learning to DM. So anyway, you guys get back to the ship. During Fierce's night watch, because you guys just sleep on the ship, and enough time has passed. It's night. You just are like, okay, we'll
That's
just
our ship, right? At
yeah.
this
You guys
point.
have you have the ship. But yeah, you
Yeah.
weren't here from when we talked about it last time, but yeah, you guys had a ship that you owned and had crew. Um, and so yeah, you just like drop anchor and sleep for the night in the ship out on the ocean. And during
Yeah.
Ferris's night watch, another ship shows up and tries to extort the group for money. Like, hey, what are you doing around here? Pay us money and we'll leave you alone. And Shanla convinces them that that you guys work for the chief who leads Rantai, and are investigating the wizard. Um, do you have any memory of this?
No,
Not
this sounds
figured.
like something Chandler would do.
Yeah, it
It
fits.
does.
Um, you guys eventually in the morning, you make the ship go away. You head to Perico in the morning, and apparently along the way, Shanla jokingly declares herself the captain of the ship. Um,
Jokingly, question mark.
jokingly, question mark. Yes. In Perico, okay, then you come and talk to a bunch of people. In Perico, Shanla talks to Joso and gets him to send a letter to her father. I think it was the letter from last time that he wrote. As he wrote that, and then now you're getting it sent. Orcus meets
Yeah.
Dolzo. Dolzo was one of the captains of the Ivory Fang, and he was a big gorilla. You guys remember Dolzo?
Ah.
Yeah, I think
No.
so.
Okay, yeah.
I believe I
Um,
remember meeting Gorilla.
yeah.
I didn't remember his name, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh no, I remember. I have a list of NPC names I wrote out in preparation for this because there's a lot of names that get
Yeah.
mentioned, and so I need to know. I have a quick like reference guide for okay, which one's that? Which one's that?
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, Argus meets Dolzo and has an awkward conversation. Apparently, I remember he was like you like went
I
onto
can
his ship.
imagine.
Yeah, you went onto his ship and went like, hi. And he went hi, and then kind of just yeah. Um, Elika tails some random guy and asks about stuff she already knows. Apparently, I was a little annoyed. There's some passive aggression in those notes. And buys some
Yeah.
braziers. Um, and then Fierce learns to fish with the lizard folk, who I'm pretty sure was a member of the crew. Um, I can list off the crew quickly if you guys want. Um,
I mean, do we need to?
fine if you don't want it.
Do we
Go
have
ahead. Go
We'll
to?
ahead.
deprive. We'll deprive. No. Tom has decided. We'll deprive the people of the crew. They won't know. At least not this episode. Um, everybody groups up and goes to the Wanderer's Respite, which is a bar, with some crew, and they meet Merritt. Do you know who Merritt is? After trying and mostly failing to talk to Merritt, Harsk and Agnes show up, and the two groups talk about the coming raid. Do you know who any of these people are and what's happening here?
I know about the raid happening. I know we were walking with them, but we didn't. I do not remember like any of the.
This is the adventuring party, the other
Yeah, this
adventuring party.
is like. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
like another adventuring party that we were grouping up with to attack a particular part of the base, right?
yeah. They happened to be in town and they chose to participate in the raid. Um, and so these are you met Ilvaria, the drow, last time. Harsk and Agna are dwarves, and Merent. I remember I forgot I completely forgot this guy exists, but I remember I was quite happy with him at the time. He was like a fey sorcerer who was completely
Yeah.
loopy. Um,
Okay, that's who Merritt was.
yeah.
Uh.
He was like you
He's
could the
an
guy.
elf, right?
Yeah, an elf. He's an full elf. So two dwarves, a dwarf. Yeah, two dwarves, a drow, and an elf. Um, And yeah, I remember I had a lot of fun role playing Marint because you guys would be like, "So who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I am the grass, the wind." you know. Um, but anyway, you guys discuss the coming raid. Um, eventually, for some reason, you go. I think you like to have like slightly more private discussion. You go up to Harsk and Agnes' room, and Shanla and Elika get into an argument. Um,
Hmm.
do you remember this happening?
Yeah. We got into beef about like trying to find the secret entrance
Was that it? Okay.
and how to find it.
Right. You
I
eventually.
remember
Mhm.
he was like Elko Ilka's player was trying to they said, "Oh, I could do the wild shoot thing," and I think I disagreed with something he said,
Mm.
or with something Ilka said, and then I was told to leave the room by them.
No, that I think I don't know if that's quite what. Maybe they
They,
did like say, "Hey, can you step out for a moment?" Maybe. But I remember how this went from my. I didn't remember the content of the argument
Hmm.
very much, but what I do remember is how I handled it. Um, because this is one. Um, it was kind of interesting. It started out like as an actual like role play like oh like just kind of sharing opinions and you're both
Yeah.
playing as your characters, but it clearly developed into both of you getting slightly annoyed at the other player but still like role playing it, but like there was clearly and so I was like it was going in circles, I remember. And you two are fine after this. There's no like bad, but it was just like it was a weird like you were caught in a cycle of role playing it, so you couldn't quite say it to each other properly, and so I intervened as Agna, I think, and kind of like role played her as like, "Hey, calm down, you two. Why don't one of you like step out for a second? We can work this out," and help
Yeah.
resolve stuff. Um, so yeah, that happened. And you imagine you guys agreed on however you're going to find the entrance, which we'll see later. Um, you go back to the ship. Shanla shares some super elf grass with the tiefling and catfolk who were members of the crew. Ferris shows the hobgoblin and the lizard folk, who are also members of the crew, how to swing a weapon. And Elika talks to Orcus about her problem with Shanla. Apparently, there was role playing some bad blood. Um, and then hi Shanla. I remember Shanla got like drunk or high or something, and like tearfully talked to Orcus about something. I forget what.
Yeah.
hmm.
Because
Do you,
I
do you
remember the
remember?
joke was like, "Oh, Orcus is now the therapist."
Right, right.
We're like the emotional punching bag.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
just the punching bag
Mhm.
in general.
Yeah.
Orcus, I have a problem. Orcus, I have a
Orcus.
problem. Orcus.
I
Come solve our
need a
problems.
shoulder to cry on,
Orcus, I'll give
Orcus.
you a gold piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so you guys sleep on the boat that night. Then you travel to a bit off of the coast, still on the same island, and then this is so you go around to like the area where you know the stone chain are kind of located, but you're like a bit off the coast, so you're like not immediately going to get in trouble. Um, and you send Elika and Orcus on a boat to land to search the area for the Stone Chain Cove. So the way this has worked is like Elika like flies around above and looks for things, and then Orcus is on the land, kind of sneaking about, seeing if he can spot anything like more like detailed, like actually on the ground looking,
Yeah.
you know, because he can sneak about, and Elika's just above looking like a bird. Um,
Yeah.
and after some time searching as an ego, Elika narrows down the possible secret entrance locations to 3 places. Uh, then they go back to the ship and spend the night at sea. Apparently, during the night, during watch, Shanla sees a whale. Very cool whale. Um,
Thumbs
Whale.
up.
thumbs up. Were you going to say something, Tom?
No, I just said
Oh,
whale.
whale. Yes.
Whale.
Um,
Neat.
the next day, Orcus and Elika head back into the mountain. Or Elika again guiding Orcus. And you guys managed to locate the secret entrance. You're like, okay, we found it. And I remember like there was like a time when like the raid was set to happen, and this was like right up at the edge. Like you had to find it today, the day that you found it.
Yeah.
Um, so that was good. You take note of some guards posted nearby. Uh, you'll overhear a conversation, but I think that's the next time you come here. Yeah, that's next session. Yeah, so you guys, after finding it, you make your way back to the ship. And but Elika, because she's a bird, she can fly, right? She gets there way before Orcus does. And we and she convinces the crew that Orcus has died. Um,
Oh my lord.
until they're like, okay, but wait, who's that guy rowing towards us in the boat? And they're like, oh, it's Orcus.
Yeah.
You guys, Elika's just fucking with the crew. Um, and you guys head back to Perico and sleep on the ship for the night. By this point, 3 weeks and 2 days had passed since the start of the campaign, and that's where the end of that session. We're gonna do one more though. Any thoughts so far about things that have transpired?
Well, like it kind of is interesting how we made as players what we
Mhm.
ended up doing with the secret entrance thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Because
Um,
as far as I knew, you had a secret entrance
well, yeah,
before
because you
you
guys just went, well,
make one.
obviously there's a secret entrance, and then you looked and you found one. So you're like, oh, clearly Tyler had prepared that. But I remember
Yeah.
very clearly, uh, Gavin
Oh my
died just a
god.
little.
Good enough to die for.
It's good enough. Yeah. But I remember very clearly it was Elika's player who went, there's got to be a secret entrance, or like something like that. And I went, fuck, there's got to be a secret entrance.
He's
uh,
right.
yeah. And then I realized,
Oh
okay, that's the
god.
direction thing. Because, and again, I've talked about before, like, I didn't know how to go A, B, C, D. So I was expecting, like, you guys get there and eventually make your way over to Rantai and get involved that way and then do the raid or whatever. But then suddenly you guys came up with the secret entrance idea, and now that threw things off in this direction. Um, and it was fine. It was fun. It was slightly, yeah, not
It's just
perfect, but hmm?
the players assume a certain amount of like I don't want to say competency
Yeah, yeah.
of the DM, but it's kind of
Well,
like you assume they know what they're doing the whole time, and so often it's just like, well, I guess this is what we're doing now.
yeah, you guys were definitely giving me way more credit than what I was capable of most of the time in this game. During the course of this campaign, like nowadays, I probably would be like just run through like just the process and end up at like, okay, there's probably a secret entrance. That would just have to happen in the process. Um, but back then, I had prepared like literally nothing about the cove itself at this point. I just knew a raid was happening in the future. um, Again, all of my prep for the last couple things has mostly just been stuff for Rantai, the city of Rantai, which you like go to once, and even that, and then it doesn't go the way I expected.
Yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, we pick up next session. Um, you guys wake up on the ship in Perico. Um, Fierus fails to play banjo. Sad day.
Dramatic grasp.
Yes, bad juju for
Gasp.
the future. Um, but yeah, I think he like snapped a string or something with his nail. Whatever it is, it didn't sound good. You guys go to the Wanderer's Rest by the tavern to get some coffee. Uh, make some small talk with Agna and a little bit with Ilvaria, Dwarf and Drow. Oh yeah, for this session, I had prepared a package from Wanatuma for you guys to receive. Um, you remember anything about this package?
I don't
No.
think so. No.
Inside it is the cracked shard of creation that you'd given to Kadir,
Mm.
um, the not wizard but like learned guy who you gave the
Yeah.
shard to like examine. You got 119 gold for the painting that had been sold. Um, Apparently, Persif had a vision and saw a calming glow to the northeast. This was foreshadowing the position of the new island. Kadir mentions in a given note that like, hey, he needs a full intact shard, not a cracked one, to learn anything more.
Mm.
Apparently, Priscilla noted she was excited about Tuval. You guys cared. Um,
Hmm.
and then Mela, um, the Shama's girlfriend, is concerned about everyone's safety.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, you receive that package while you're at the bar. Alika buys 2 crates of elf grass, um, making preparations. You guys go
Yep.
to a meeting and meet with the other captains of the Ivory Fang, one of which was Dolzo mentioned previously. I'll mention the other ones. Of course, there's Druin, the catfolk who ran the whole Ivory Fang, and
Yep.
then
All the way
there,
back from session 1, we met him.
yes, and there was Dolzo, and there was Sifsa, who was a snake folk kind of thing. I think Lamia. Um, and then I love this guy's name, Messacurio, who was a
Hmm.
toucan folk. Um, those are the
Oh
captains.
yeah, I remember hearing about
That
him.
that that guy sounds like he sells a breakfast cereal.
Oh yeah, Messacurios. Uh, and apparently, Shanla negotiates payment because you guys participating in the raid, and they're like, okay, what are you going to pay us to do it? Um, and then you learn the plan for the raid, which is some of the captains set up kind of like a distraction. Druin, Dolzo, and Joso, the kind of leader of Perico, lead the force into the raid itself while you guys go in through the secret entrance you found. Um,
Oh man, it would be really funny if you just made the secret entrance lead to like a completely different building.
oh
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
a neighboring strip club. It's just like,
yeah,
oh fuck.
yeah.
We
um,
were so wrong.
yeah. Apparently, Orcus also sends a letter to his father. I have no idea what this letter says. Probably like, "Hey, we're doing this." Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember. I doubt it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do remember I sent him letters.
Mhm. I think two or three over the course of the campaign.
Yeah.
Um, apparently, you guys then go to sleep early. Um, don't know where, so who knows? Probably the boat. The next day, you guys make your way to the secret entrance with relative ease. Um, and then I know I had prepared a conversation for you guys to overhear, specifically Orcus, who got close. Um, uh, one is about like, oh, we're siding with the fleet master because he's got secret allies. Um, and then one is about the fact that they know about the void beads. Um,
Ah.
and then
Yeah.
another one is about them planning to wipe out the Abysarans,
Mm-hmm.
but thinking it's not that easy. So yeah, you overhear that bit of info I prepared for you to, just these two
Learn.
guards happen to be talking about all the cool things because of course
Yeah.
it's cold area.
Conveniently.
Yes. Um, okay, Orcus sneaks up and takes out the two guards, and I remember this scene was really cool. Um, you
Yeah, I
remember
do
taking out the
remember
guards?
too. Yeah, I remember this actually.
Remember how it happened?
I hit like a solid hit on the first guy, I think, to like really
Hmm.
fuck him up.
And I think it was like you knocked the one guy down and then like chopped the other guy's head off or like in half, and then finished the other guy
Yeah.
off or something like that. It was. I remember it being cool. I don't remember the specific sequence.
Yeah. I
But I
felt
saw
cool during it.
you were very cool. It was. I was. I remember it was like the first time Orcus had really got to be like the sneaky,
Yeah.
kill people with stealth and coolness. Yeah. You guys make your way down the tunnel. Oh, sorry, you didn't overhear the guards. You overhear the conversation between the captains. So the captains of the Stone Chain are talking, and that's where
Uh,
you hear the conversations I mentioned earlier.
Mm.
and they're
Um,
going through the secret entrance at the time, so that's why the.
you know they're in their like main meeting room. The secret entrance leads into the main meeting room,
Oh yeah.
and you guys are like I don't know behind a painting or something, hearing this.
I
But
thought it was a bookshelf. Was how I
it
had
was
it
a
in my
bookshelf.
mind.
You're right. It was a bookshelf. You're right.
I'm a genius.
Yes. So you overhear that. I remember there were four people in here. There was the head captain, um, who I don't think I ever named. Let me
Hmm.
check though. I think it was literally just the Stone Chain captain. It was a girl. It was a female barbarian, human.
Well, they
Um,
won't long for this world,
no,
so.
no, I don't see her noted anywhere. So yeah. And then there was two like a cleric and a wizard who also didn't have names, but they were there because also they were weaker than you guys at this point because the main captain was pretty powerful, and there was like two kind of weaker ones, and there was the last one who was named, who was the day captain, the guy who ran the stone chain during the day, um, which was Hadat. His first name was Hadat. Um, he was also the guy that Druin had fought on the boats and like jumped across and fought at the very start of the campaign. Um, and like I think he still had a broken jaw at this point. But yeah.
And we took full advantage of it.
Yes.
Totally.
And then okay, and then the next thing I have noted here is burst in and kill everyone but the wizard. Um,
Hmm.
Because we're nice like that.
yeah, I remember you guys used a scroll of summon. You'd gotten a scroll of summon nature's ally a while back, and you used that here. Um,
Hmm.
Did we?
and then I also remember pretty much everybody died real quick except for the main captain, who you guys just like all grouped up on and wailed on for a bit.
The
Um,
way I remember it is Elika turned into a bear and that went really well.
yeah, she did, didn't she? Yeah. Um,
We learned the power of wild shape that day.
yes, yes. And then right after you guys finish this, the raid has also been taking place, right? You sneak in, the raid starts, and then right as the raid starts, you guys break in, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I remember so the raid was happening. There was this thing where they had rigged stalactites over the cave to blow up and fall down on ships as they came in. So that happened, and so you're like overhearing that as the fight is happening, and then the fight happens,
Explosions.
and the fight's still happening, but you've killed all the captains. And there was a moment where Fierce's player understood what had to happen next, but like the
Yeah.
rest of you had no idea. Do you remember this?
I
Um,
remember exactly what he did, and it was awesome.
yeah, yeah. I remember he was like, "Oh, I know." He like indicated like he knows exactly what, but everybody else was kind of like, "Loot, oh, neat, oh," and I was like, and he was like trying to get you guys to do it. I was like, no, you can do it. You got it. You came up with it. And so what he did was he grabbed the head of the head captain, the captain of the stone chain, and went out to like the overhang, overlooking where the battle was happening because you guys were higher up. And held the head and was like, "Oh, we won! Rah!" And there was a big cheer.
She's
Woo!
dead.
Dead. No, she's dead. Um,
Behold, she's dead.
yes. Um, Ferris holds the head of the stone chain captain for everyone to see and roars. And at which point the stone chain break and are slaughtered. I remember Orcus like goes down and participates in the carnage. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I went to go be a medicine woman.
yeah, it says Shanla helps heal the wounded, and then Orcus helps free some slaves who are like in some cages nearby. I remember
Yeah.
this was I think the way we played this at the time. This was like a moment for Orcus, um, where it was like he's fully no longer a slaver. You know, this was the moment
Yeah.
he'd fully left his past behind. Um,
Important personal moment for him.
yes. Um, at which point, Shanla, I remember Shanla was like, "Hey, Druin, come here, come here," and you guys went back up to the overlook. Do you remember what you announced here, Gavin?
No.
No, you. So she announces with some assistance from Druin that there will be a celebration in Perico in 3 days. Um, so
Oh.
essentially, you were like, "Hey, Druin, get all their attention,"
All
and then he did, and then you
right.
guys announced party time.
Yep. I remember that now.
Mhm. At this point, you guys return to your ship, and then you return to Perico. Elika goes around and notes down a number of locations of different places that might be relevant in the coming party. Uh, so, like, oh,
Ah.
this will make a good hot box. Orcus enchants Gandazza, and not much happens, I guess, in the 3 days. And the day of the party arrives, and that is where this session ended. At this point, 3 weeks and 6 days have passed since the start of the campaign.
Mhm.
Any
In
thoughts?
universe or out of universe?
I just wanted to know. I had not run 16 sessions over the course of 3 weeks and 6 days. This
Yeah.
is an in-universe tracker of how long. So since
Mm-hmm.
like you guys were attacked at the celebration on Wanatuba,
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
and the destruction was announced as a thing. So any thoughts about the raid, about the wizard, about anything?
I can't believe you let us go to the wizard, Tyler.
Oh yeah, yeah. Terrible DM.
We need to be on those rails 24/7.
Yeah, yeah.
Get this man
Um,
canceled.
do you guys have any thoughts about things that we could discuss related to what happened, or
I remember the wizard was like a super dick and like fired a fireball directly into the like.
Yeah, he was not a good person. I remember we found out he was like fully evil at some
yeah,
point.
we can
Oh,
talk about his role in things a little bit if you want, unless there's anything else you wanted to say. Um,
I was talking about the wizard that we were fighting at the coast
oh,
because like while we were killing his friends, he was like, "I'm gonna go fireball the other people that just came in."
oh, I do not remember that. Do you mean like allies that came, or do you mean like other parts of the party?
No, the allies that were coming in to do the raid. He like
Oh,
blew them
oh,
up.
he was the one who blew up the stalactites.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, because there was like
with a
explosives
fireball.
rigged, and he like chucked. I don't think it was a fireball. It was something fiery because he couldn't cast fireball. It wasn't high enough level. It was
Uh,
level 3. Um, but yeah, he chucked like something like firebolt or something into the stalactites and popped the explosive rigged up there, and those fell down and hit a bunch of boats. And you guys find out later that Dolzo, the gorilla, died in that. I remember that was a sad reveal.
Uh, it
Um,
was sad. We were
yes.
sad.
yeah.
I remember I cut you guys off guard with that. It's like next session, and you guys are like, "Oh, okay." Like one of you
Oh,
went. One of you went to see him. I remember. We'll get to that next episode. Um, but yeah, the wizard. The wizard. His role in all this. I think he survives the campaign. He gets away. The evil wizard that dropped you in acid.
son of a bitch.
Yeah, he got away. He's like the guy who was making the void beads. He was getting through various means. Well, you knew one part. Ibris was like gathering crystals, and then somehow those crystals were being brought over to the wizard, and he was doing some things on them to make the void beads, or at least the structure that was then filled with void energy. He didn't do the filling with
Mm-hmm.
the void energy.
I was gonna say this guy's level 3. What the fuck? How is he
No,
doing
no,
all
no,
this
not,
shit?
not that guy. The guy in the stone chain was just some random wizard who you guys captured.
Oh yeah.
Um, you guys capture him during that fight. But we're talking about Messerar, the wizard at the start of this session.
He
The
had a
one,
name.
yes, Messerar Lokar was his name.
I'm
I
not
thought
gonna
his name
remember
was
that.
Evil McWizard Wizard.
No, no. But yeah, and so that was his role in things. That was what he doing. He was doing. Um, any other thoughts?
Nope. I like to
No.
keep my thoughts at a minimum.
I see.
Well, the
Tom.
raid was really good. It felt good because we did really well, and then
Hmm.
roleplay stuff was like, oh, all these cool things are happening, and we got to be a part of it.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely remember the raid very fondly.
Mm.
yeah, good adventuring.
Well then, if there's no further thoughts, that's where we will end this episode. Goodbye.
Good night.
Goodbye.